Head lice are small, wingless insects that feed on human blood. They need human blood to survive. So that's another reason that if there were lice in your bed or on the furniture or in a hat or something, they're not going to last very long because they're going to starve, essentially. Starve those lice. And another thing, what did somebody say? I heard somebody refer to a louse as elderly, which cracked me up. And then the wonderful school nurse at Learning Community Charter School referred to a louse as teenage. It just seems so funny and made them so endearing when they're so irritating. But true, we are talking about the life cycle of an insect, which I believe for a louse is 30 days. However, they reach maturity or reproductive maturity, which is the most important part, at 7 to 10 days. And that's where you run into trouble because, yes, you may have killed a louse or two, but they lay a lot of eggs. And, well, I think something like 5 a day, but that's enough. You got a few crawling around in your head, and that's a lot of eggs all of a sudden. The eggs I am going to refer to in the rest of the program as nits. That is what they're called, nits, N-I-T-S. And they look like a little... they look like a little grain of sand, basically, on the hair shaft, very close to the scalp. And that's tricky too because they are hard to find. And it brings new meaning to the term nitpicker when you start dealing with lice control, because that is what you end up doing. And that's going to bring me to my next point, but let's just go through the myths. Head lice do not live on pets. That's another thing a lot of people think. They're not fleas. They don't live on pets. So you're not going to catch them and you're not going to give them to your pets. Head lice off their human hosts will starve. I more or less said that before, but that's true and it's helpful to remember. And the other thing is that you cannot catch nits. The little eggs on the hair shaft cannot, you can't spread them from person to person. They must turn into live lice, which really do spread to another person by direct contact. You have to be pretty close to them. One of the reasons why girls tend to get lice more frequently than boys is not because their hair is longer, but because they tend to have closer contact when they play, and their heads seem to be together, you know, a little for prolonged amounts of time, and they tend to be a little bit more affectionate and physical. So, you know, it's easy to pass them that way. So those are some of the myths and misconceptions. And then, what did I want to say? I wanted to show you the comb. My comb prop is not here. Gosh darn it. Oh, here it is. This is what, I know, it's so professional here. Zoom, I'm just going to go off camera for a second. This is the comb that traditionally comes in like a over-the-counter kit. It's plastic and it's really not very effective. This is some of like the typical lice medicines out there. The over-the-counter ones that I was saying are toxic and dangerous, and if you're going to use them very sparingly. Do not ever do repeat usage, like day after day, or even let like 3 days go by in between. That is very much not recommended, okay? So I kind of said that like in a backwards way, but I'm saying please try not to repeat use these, you know, in a short period of time. Now, here's the thing, and this is the other important thing to remember. These products are very effective at killing the insects themselves, okay? You could do that and you'll see the lice in the bathtub and so forth. What they're not effective in doing is killing the nits. And the nits are really where the problem lies, because any number of nits in your head are going to hatch into live lice shortly. So what many people feel compelled to do is to literally go through the hair with one of these combs and pull all the nits out, sometimes with tweezers, sometimes with different lotions that help, and it's a very tedious process. I remember a story, hang on a sec, I'm back. I remember the story in the New Yorker a long time ago, but it stayed with me, about a woman in Brooklyn in the Hasidic community who basically made her living by being a nitpicker. families who were struggling with lice control would call her. She would come over to the house and she would literally sit there for hours and pull all the nits from the hair. And therein lies the frustration with getting rid of lice. Because, as I said, you can get rid of the bugs quite easily with the over-the-counter drugs and even some natural non-toxic methods, which I haven't even ventured into yet. That includes olive oil. You're essentially like drowning them. Tea tree oil, which is all natural, non-toxic, and lice really don't seem to like. Peppermint oil is another one. Sure, I like this angle. Oh, that's even worse. Sorry, they opened the closet door. I got a lot to say, so I can't be concerned with the background. So there are some non-toxic remedies that, again, will help kill the lice, but will not kill the nits. When I was doing my research, I posed the question, what happened? Why is it that these chemicals can kill the lice, but you can't find anything to kill the nits? And that is like the evolutionary wonder of lice. Much the same way with roaches. They become resistant to the poisons that we put out there. So what happens with lice is the lice themselves are not resistant, but their eggs have this resistance. So it used to be that you could kill the eggs as well with these chemicals, but you cannot any longer. So what do you do? Also in my research, I found a really interesting and innovative solution. And it's a salon, actually, that opened in LA a couple of years ago out of necessity. It was like, a mother who was just like, couldn't deal with the whole lice thing. She worked with scientists at Harvard and they developed their own product line, a completely non-toxic product line for eradicating lice. And then she created this lovely salon called Hair Fairies, where they have like a very specific treatment. It's not quite the same as something you would do at home. And of course it's using their products. And I believe this comb is, like they patented it. It's a little hard to say, but you get the gist. So I have one of these combs right here. And fortunately for us, they opened a salon in New York City a little more than a year ago. So I don't care if I sound like a commercial for this salon because it's irrelevant to me. It's like if you're suffering with this problem, this is kind of like a safe haven. It's like a place you can go, you can take the whole family, you can have a free evaluation, and then if they have to do a treatment, they'll do it to whatever family members they need to do a treatment to. The place is totally kid-friendly. They have television, videos, crayons, chalkboard, you name it, like a pediatrician's office basically. But it's really, really, really clean. It feels very like clean and sterile in there. And they basically put the kid in the chair and they use their products, which I have something right here. This is called their Nit Zapping Cleanse. And this is just like this cream that helps you pull the nits out way more effectively than you could ever do with just an ordinary comb and dry hair, or even hair that had like, some kind of oil in it. And then again, their comb that they use, and then they have this shampoo that helps get rid of the nits and the lice too. So again, remember, it's like getting rid of the lice is really not the difficult part of it. It's getting rid of the nits and preventing further infestation. So you could think, and this is how lice becomes really insidious and spreads to so many either family members or additional kids at school. You could think that your child's head is clear, or your own for that matter, and all it takes is one nit that still is holding a viable louse in it for that to hatch, and you've got the problem pretty much all over again. Although I shouldn't really say that, but I guess you need two, because lice do need to reproduce. They do come in genders, not like some creatures that are genderless and just can reproduce on their own. So I guess you do need two to live in your hair, but I mean, just the thought, and you start going through your hair, your child's hair, and realize like the thousands of hairs. Like it really feels like looking for a needle in a haystack. Right, hang on, I gotta mute these kids.